The stars looked the same as they always had. Cold, distant, uncaring. Commander Jiwoo Park stood on the bridge of her ship, the Resolute, and watched them through the massive viewing screen. She had been watching these same stars for 30 years, first as a child in the hidden colony, then as a soldier, now as a commander of humanity's last fleet. Behind her, the bridge crew worked in silence. They knew their commander liked quiet when she was thinking, and Jiwoo had much to think about today. After 200 years of hiding, humanity was about to step back into the galaxy. The question was whether they would be welcomed or destroyed. Lieutenant Minho Kang approached from the tactical station. He was young, barely 25, but sharp as a knife. Jiwoo trusted him with her life. Commander Captain Yoonji reports her reconnaissance is complete. The Coalition patrol passed through Sector 7 without detecting us. Jiwoo nodded. The Coalition, 47 alien species working together, ruling the galaxy like they owned it. 2 centuries ago, they had abandoned humanity to die. A plague had swept through human colonies, killing millions. The Coalition had quarantined human space and left. They never came back. They never checked if anyone survived. They just assumed humanity was gone. But humanity had survived. Barely. The survivors had fled to the Outer Veil, a dangerous nebula where scanners did not work well. They had hidden there for 200 years, slowly rebuilding. 12 warships. 30,000 people. That was all that remained of Earth's children. What about the mining colony? Jiwoo asked. Minho checked his datapad. Proxima 7. Small population, maybe 5,000. They are called the Nirathi, amphibious species. Not very strong militarily. The Coalition treats them like servants. Jiwoo knew the type. The Coalition had powerful species at the top. Everyone else did the hard work and got little respect. It was not fair, but the galaxy rarely was. Any military presence? None. The nearest Coalition fleet is 3 days away. The colony has basic shields, but nothing serious. Minho paused. Commander, why are we watching this place? Because we need to understand them before we reveal ourselves, Jiwoo said. She turned from the viewing screen. The Coalition thinks we are extinct. When they learn the truth, they will react. I need to know how. Dr. Heejin Lee entered the bridge. She was the fleet's chief scientist, a thin woman in her 40s with tired eyes. She had spent decades studying Coalition technology from intercepted transmissions. Commander, I have finished analyzing the data from Captain Yoonji's scans. The Coalition is using the same encryption protocols they had 200 years ago. They have not improved much. Arrogance, Minho said. They think they are the strongest, so they stop trying to be better. Hyejin nodded. That could be our advantage. We have spent 2 centuries fighting to survive. Every system on our ships has been rebuilt 3 times. Every weapon tested 1,000 times. We may be small, but we are sharp. The communication station beeped. The officer there looked up, surprised. Commander, we are receiving a distress signal. It is coming from Proxima 7. Everyone on the bridge turned to look at Jiwoo. She walked to the communication station. Let me hear it. The signal crackled through the speakers. A voice, high-pitched and terrified, spoke in broken Coalition standard language. This is Proxima 7 mining colony. We are under attack. Pirates, shields failing. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need help. They are killing us. The bridge fell silent. Jiwoo felt every eye on her. This was not part of the plan. The plan was to watch, to learn, to stay hidden until the right moment. But plans changed. Lives were at stake. How many pirate ships? She asked. Minho worked his console. Sensors show 40 contacts. Mixed types. Looks like a warlord fleet. They are brutal, Commander. They do not take prisoners. 40 ships against 12. Bad odds, but humans had faced worse. Jiwoo looked at Dr. Heejin. Your opinion? Hyejin hesitated. If we help them, the Coalition will know we exist. Our advantage of surprise will be gone. But if we do nothing, thousands of innocent people will die. She met Jiwoo's eyes. I cannot make this choice for you, Commander. Minho stepped forward. Commander, we should help them. It is the right thing to do, and it will show the galaxy what humans stand for. We protect the weak. We fight for justice. Jiwoo closed her eyes for a moment. She thought of all the people depending on her. 30,000 souls who had survived 2 centuries of hell. She could keep them safe by staying hidden. Or she could risk everything to save 5,000 strangers. But what was the point of surviving if they lost their humanity in the process? She opened her eyes and her voice was steady. Sound General Quarters. All ships prepare for combat. We jump to Proxima 7 in 5 minutes. She looked at her crew. Today, the galaxy remembers that humans still exist, and they will learn what that means. The bridge exploded into activity. Orders were given. Systems activated. Weapons powered up. Through it all, Jiwoo stood calm at the center of the storm. She had made her choice. Now she would see it through. Captain Yoonji Choi's voice came through the communication system. Resolute, this is Silence. My stealth ship can get there first. I can provide reconnaissance before you arrive. Approved, Jiwoo said. But stay hidden, Yoonji. Do not engage until we arrive. Understood, Commander. Minho moved to Jiwoo's side. Commander, once we do this, there is no going back. The coalition will come looking for us. I know, Jiwoo said. But maybe that is exactly what we need. We have hidden long enough. It is time to remind the galaxy who we are. And who are we, Commander? Jiwoo smiled, but it was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a predator who had been patient for too long. We are humans, Lieutenant. We are the species that refuses to die. We are the ones who fight when everyone else runs. We are the storm the galaxy forgot about. She looked at the viewing screen where Proxima 7 waited. And we are coming. The countdown reached 0. The Resolute's engines thrummed with power. Space twisted around the ship as the hyperspace drive activated. In a flash of light, the human fleet vanished from the outer veil. They were jumping toward a battle that would change everything. Toward a moment that would echo across the stars. Toward the first time in 200 years that humanity would show the galaxy its true face. On Proxima 7, the Nerathi colonists huddled in their shelters as pirate ships bombarded their homes. They prayed to their gods for salvation, not knowing that salvation was already on its way. And it came in the form of 12 human warships, crewed by the descendants of a species that had clawed its way back from extinction, ships commanded by a woman who had spent her entire life preparing for this moment. Commander Jiwoo Park was about to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Humans were not legends. They were real. And they were done hiding. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace like ghosts materializing from darkness. One moment, the space around Proxima 7 was empty, except for the pirate ships tearing the colony apart. The next moment, 12 human warships hung in the void, their weapons already tracking targets. On the bridge of the Resolute, Commander Jiwoo Park studied the tactical display. The pirate fleet was exactly where Captain Yoonji had said it would be. 40 ships scattered around the colony like predators around wounded prey. They were so confident, so focused on their victims that they had not even posted scouts. That was their first mistake, Minho said quietly beside her. Jiwoo nodded. Broadcast our message. All frequencies. The communications officer activated the transmission. Jiwoo's voice went out across the battlefield, cold and clear. Attention, pirate vessels. This is Commander Jiwoo Park of the human fleet. You have attacked innocent civilians. Stand down immediately and surrender, or you will be destroyed. For a moment, there was silence. Then laughter came back across the channels. A deep rumbling voice responded. Humans, I thought you were all dead. No matter. You will be soon enough. I am Warlord Vexthul, and this colony belongs to me now. Leave or join them in death. Jiwoo looked at Minho. Light them up. The human ships opened fire. Railguns spat metal slugs at incredible speeds. Missiles streaked through space. Energy weapons powered by fusion reactors humans had perfected during their centuries of isolation, carved through pirate shields like they were paper. The pirates scrambled to respond. They turned their ships toward the new threat, weapons charging. But they were disorganized, undisciplined. They had grown fat on easy victims. The human fleet was something else entirely. Target their command ships first, Jiwoo ordered. Cut off the head and the body dies. Minho worked his console, coordinating the attack with precision. The humans had practiced this 1,000 times in simulations. Every crew member knew their role. Every captain knew the plan. They moved like a single organism with 12 bodies, striking and retreating, flanking and overwhelming. 3 pirate capital ships exploded in the first 5 minutes. The smaller vessels panicked, breaking formation. Some tried to flee, others charged recklessly at the human ships. Both choices were fatal. Captain Yoonji Choi's stealth ship, the Silence, lived up to its name. It appeared behind enemy vessels like a phantom, delivering killing strikes before vanishing again. The pirates could not track it, could not predict it. They were fighting an enemy they could not see. 15 enemy ships destroyed, Minho reported. 10 disabled. The rest are trying to regroup. Do not let them, Jiwoo said. Press the attack. Show them what humans can do. The battle raged for 30 minutes. It was not even close. The pirates had numbers, but the humans had discipline, training, and 2 centuries of desperate innovation. Every tactic the pirates tried, the humans countered. Every weapon the pirates fired, the humans evaded or absorbed with shields that had been designed to survive anything. Warlord Vex Thul's flagship tried to break through the human line and escape to hyperspace. Jiwoo would not allow it. All ships focus fire on that vessel. I want him alive. The human fleet concentrated their weapons on the flagship's engines. Precision strikes, each one calculated to disable without destroying. The flagship spun out of control, venting atmosphere and power. Dead in space, prepare boarding teams, Jiwoo ordered. I want Vexthul captured. The colonists deserve justice. Dr. Hejin Lee spoke up from her station. Commander, we are receiving transmissions from the colony. They are asking who we are. They want to thank us. Tell them the truth, Jiwoo said. Tell them we are humans, and we came to help. The boarding operation was swift and brutal. Human Marines in powered armor breached the flagship. The pirates fought back, but they had never faced humans in close combat before. Humans were not the strongest species in the galaxy, not the fastest, not the toughest, but they were relentless. Sergeant Daehyun Shin led the assault team. He was a veteran, scarred from decades of training in harsh conditions. When a pirate plasma bolt burned through his armor and into his side, he barely slowed down. He grabbed the wounded Marine beside him and dragged her to cover, then kept fighting. The Marines pushed through the flagship deck by deck. The pirates had expected easy prey on the colony. Instead, they got predators who had spent 200 years learning how to survive against impossible odds. Vexthul was found in his command chamber, surrounded by his guards. He was a massive creature, easily twice the size of any human, with thick armor plating and cybernetic enhancements. He roared defiance as the Marines entered. Sergeant Daehyun did not hesitate. He fired a stun round that dropped the warlord like a stone. The guards surrendered when they saw their leader fall. The battle was over. Jiwoo watched from the bridge as Vexthul was brought aboard the Resolute in restraints. The warlord glared at her with hatred in his eyes, but said nothing. There was nothing to say. He had lost. Contact the colony leadership, Jiwoo ordered. Tell them we are delivering this criminal to them for justice. Within hours, representatives from the Nirathi colony came aboard human ships. They were small beings, barely half the height of a human, with smooth amphibious skin and large expressive eyes. They looked at the humans with wonder and gratitude. The colony leader, an old Nirathi named Tellus, approached Jiwoo with trembling hands. You saved us. We thought we would all die today, but you came. Humans came. Tears ran down his face. We thought you were just stories. Old legends. Jiwoo placed a hand gently on his shoulder. We are real. And we will not let the innocent suffer if we can help it. She gestured to Vexthul. He is yours to judge. Do with him as your laws demand. As the Nirathi took the warlord away, Jiwoo turned to her crew. Minho was grinning. Dr. Hijin looked troubled. Captain Yoonji had just arrived back on the Resolute, her flight suit still bearing scorch marks from near misses. Well, Commander, Yoonji said. The galaxy definitely knows we exist now. Good, Jiwoo said. Let them know. Let them remember what humans are capable of. Dr. Hyejin stepped forward. Commander, I am picking up Coalition transmissions. They received recordings of the battle. They know about us now. What are they saying? Jiwoo asked. Hyejin hesitated. They are divided. Some are grateful we saved the colony. Others are afraid. They do not know what to make of us. And some are angry that we acted without permission. Minho snorted. Permission? We do not need their permission to do what is right. No, we do not, Jiwoo agreed. But we will need to deal with them eventually. The Coalition will not ignore us now. As if in answer, the communication system beeped. A new transmission, encrypted with Coalition military codes. Minho looked at Jiwoo with surprise. It is from a Coalition general. He wants to talk to you, privately. Jiwoo felt a chill run down her spine. This was it, the moment everything changed. The coalition was reaching out. The question was whether they came in peace or war. Put him through, she said, her voice steady despite the uncertainty ahead. Whatever came next, humanity would face it standing tall. They had announced themselves to the galaxy with fire and fury. Now they would see what the galaxy would do in response. The coalition war fleet arrived at the shattered belt like a storm made of metal and fire. 60 warships, each one larger than any human vessel, their weapons capable of destroying planets. Admiral Vayrix commanded them from his flagship, a massive dreadnought that dwarfed everything around it. But the human fleet was ready. Commander Jiwoo Park had chosen this battlefield carefully. The shattered belt was a graveyard of dead ships and broken asteroids, the remains of an ancient battle fought before humans even reached the stars. Sensors barely worked here. Navigation was treacherous. It was chaos, and chaos was where humans thrived. Admiral Vayrix broadcast his demands across all frequencies. His voice was harsh, filled with authority. Human vessels, this is Admiral Vayrix of the Galactic Coalition. You have acted without authorization. You have deployed military force in Coalition space. Surrender immediately and submit to Coalition law, or face destruction. Jiwoo stood on the bridge of the Resolute, her crew watching her carefully. Lieutenant Minho Kang waited at tactical. Dr. Hyejin Lee monitored communications. Captain Yoonji Choi's stealth ship lurked somewhere in the debris field, invisible and deadly. Open a channel, Jiwoo said calmly. Her voice went out, steady and firm. Admiral Vayrix, this is Commander Jiwoo Park. We acted to save innocent lives. We will not apologize for doing what is right. We seek peaceful relations with the Coalition, but we will not submit to threats. We ask for recognition as a sovereign species, nothing more. You ask? Vayrix laughed, a sound like grinding metal. You are 12 ships. I have 60. You do not make demands of us. Before Jiwoo could respond, another ship appeared on sensors. A diplomatic vessel escorted by heavy cruisers. Dr. Hyejin looked up from her station. Commander, new arrivals. Coalition Diplomatic Corps. And they have brought someone else. General Crossmar, Minho tensed. Crossmar. He commands the Coalition's most respected military forces. His people value honor and strength above all else. Is he a threat? Jiwoo asked. Unknown, Minho said. But he is not like Vayrix. He respects warriors. If we can prove our worth to him, he might listen. A new voice joined the communications channel. Smooth, elegant, but cold. I am Ambassador Thalvex of the Valerian delegation. Admiral Vayrix, General Crossmar and I are here to negotiate with these humans. Stand down your weapons. Vayrix clearly did not like being told what to do, but he complied. For now, as you wish, Ambassador, but know that my fleet stands ready, Thalvex continued. Commander Park, we propose a meeting. Neutral ground. An abandoned trading station nearby. You may bring 2 representatives. We will do the same. Jiwoo looked at Minho and Hyejin. They both nodded. This was what they needed. A chance to talk. A chance to make the Coalition understand. Agreed, Jiwoo said. We will be there in 1 hour. The meeting took place in a conference room that had not been used in decades. Dust covered the surfaces. The air recyclers hummed uncertainly. But it was neutral territory, and that was what mattered. Jiwoo entered with Minho and Hyejin at her sides. Across the table sat 3 beings that represented the power of the Coalition. Ambassador Thalvex was elegant and alien, with a crystalline exoskeleton that reflected light in strange patterns. Admiral Vayrix was massive and intimidating, his scaled skin covered in battle scars. General Crossmar was even larger, a reptilian warrior whose every movement spoke of controlled violence. Thalvex spoke first. Commander Park, let us be clear. The Coalition has maintained order in this galaxy for 3 centuries. You cannot simply appear and act as you please. There are rules, laws, structure. Dr. Hyejin Lee leaned forward. With respect, Ambassador, those rules failed us. 200 years ago, a plague devastated human colonies. The Coalition quarantined us and left. You never came back. You never checked if we survived. You abandoned us to die. Thalvex's expression did not change. That was policy. We could not risk the plague spreading to other species. And you never returned, Hyejin said, her voice shaking with controlled anger. You just assumed we were gone, dead. You erased us from your records and moved on. To you, humanity was expendable. Vayrix slammed his fist on the table. You dare lecture us? You are nothing. A handful of survivors playing at being a military power. You should be grateful we are even talking to you instead of destroying you where you stand. Minho stood up slowly. His voice was calm, but his eyes were hard. If you could destroy us so easily, Admiral, you would have done it already. But you have watched the recordings from Proxima 7. You know what we did to 40 pirate ships. You know what we are capable of. General Crossmar spoke for the first time. His voice was deep and measured.
The young human speaks truth.
I have studied your tactics at Proxima 7. You fought with discipline and skill. You protected the weak. You showed mercy to your enemies after defeating them. He looked at Jiwoo. These are the actions of warriors, not criminals. Tell me, Commander, what do you want? Jiwoo met his gaze without flinching. We want recognition as a sovereign species. We want the right to defend ourselves and our interests. We want a seat at the table when decisions are made that affect us. Not as subjects of the coalition, but as equals. Varix laughed bitterly. Equals, you are 12 ships. The coalition has thousands. You have no colonies, no resources, no allies. You are nothing. Jiwoo smiled coldly. If we are nothing, Admiral, then you should have no trouble granting our request. The room fell silent. Talvex looked thoughtful. Crossmar nodded slightly, a gesture of respect. Varix's face twisted with rage, but he said nothing. Finally, Varix spoke. You want to be treated as equals? Then prove you deserve it. I propose a trial by combat. One of your ships against one of ours. A tactical simulation, no live weapons. If you win, we continue negotiations. If you lose, you submit to coalition authority. Jiwoo considered this carefully. It was a trap, but also an opportunity. Agreed, she said. Lieutenant Kang will represent humanity. The simulation took place in a virtual environment observed by both fleets. Minho commanded the human forces. The coalition deployed their finest tactical officer, a cold and calculating strategist enhanced with artificial intelligence. The battle began. The coalition officer fought by the rules, using standard tactics and overwhelming firepower. Minho fought like a human. He used tricks and deception. He exploited every weakness. He turned the environment itself into a weapon. Within 30 minutes, it was over. Minho had not just won. He had dominated. The coalition forces were destroyed without landing a single effective hit. General Crossmar stood and nodded his approval. Well fought, Lieutenant. You have proven your worth. Varix was furious. This proves nothing. I demand a rematch. Jiwoo shook her head. The terms were clear, Admiral. We have proven ourselves. Now honor your word. Talvex sighed. Very well. I will present your petition to the Coalition Council. But this is not over, Commander. The Council will have questions. Many questions. As the meeting ended, Varix stormed out. Crossmar paused beside Jiwoo. You have made an enemy today, Commander. Be careful. Varix does not forget insults. I will remember that, General, Jiwoo said. Thank you for your fairness. Back on the Resolute, Dr. Hijin approached Jiwoo with a worried expression. Commander, I have received a message encrypted from an unknown source. What does it say? Jiwoo asked. Hijin displayed the message on a screen. It contained coordinates and a single sentence. They are building a weapon to kill humans. Find it before it is too late. Jiwoo felt ice in her veins. Someone in the coalition wanted humanity dead, and they were preparing to make it happen. She looked at her crew.
Get Captain Yunji. We need her reconnaissance skills.
Whatever is at those coordinates, we need to know what it is. And we need to know now. The moon Kaleth 9 was a dead place. No atmosphere, no life. Just gray rock and deep canyons that looked like scars on the surface. Captain Yunji Choi guided her stealth ship, the Silence, through those canyons, staying low and quiet. Her sensors barely worked in this place, but that meant the enemy sensors would not work either. Beside her sat Specialist Ji Young Han, her best systems expert. Behind them, 3 more crew members watched their stations carefully. They were deep in enemy territory now, investigating coordinates that might lead to their deaths. But Captain Yunji had never backed down from danger, and she would not start now. There, Ji-young said, pointing at her display. Energy signature. Heavily shielded, but definitely artificial. Someone built something here. Yunji brought the Silence to a landing in a narrow canyon. The facility was hidden beneath layers of rock and advanced camouflage. Even knowing it was there, she could barely see it. This is a black site. Not official. Someone does not want this place found. They suited up in combat armor and moved toward the facility entrance. Ji-young worked her magic on the security systems, bypassing locks that should have been impossible to crack. Whoever built this used coalition military encryption, she whispered. But it is old. They have not updated it. Arrogance, Yoonji said. They think no one can find this place, so they got lazy. Inside, the facility was cold and sterile. Emergency lights cast everything in red shadows. The team moved through empty corridors, weapons ready. This place felt wrong, evil. They found the first laboratory. Inside were medical pods, testing equipment, and computers displaying data that made Yoonji's blood run cold. Ji-young, are you seeing this? Ji-young scanned the computers. Her face went pale. Captain, this is a biological weapons lab. They are developing something called the Genesis Protocol. It targets human DNA specifically. Yoonji felt sick.
They are making a plague to kill humans.
All humans. Yes, and look at this. Ji-young pulled up financial records. Admiral Vayrix funded this project, along with several coalition corporations. They have been planning this since before we revealed ourselves at Proxima 7. Copy everything, Yoonji ordered. We need proof. As they moved deeper into the facility, they found something worse. Prison cells. And in those cells were the remains of test subjects. Humans. Survivors from isolated colonies captured and brought here. Experimented on. Tortured. One cell still had a living occupant, barely. An old human man, his body covered in scars and injection marks. He looked at Eunji with eyes that had seen too much pain. Are you real? He whispered. Or am I dreaming again? Eunji knelt beside him. We are real. We are here. What is your name? Baeom. My name is Baeom. I thought I was the last one. Tears ran down his face. They took us. Tested their poison on us. Most died. I should have died. Not today, Yoonji said firmly. Today you live. Today we all get out of here. Alarms shrieked through the facility. Red lights flashed. A cold voice echoed through speakers. Intruders detected. Security protocols activated. Self-destruct sequence initiated. Run, Yoonji shouted. They grabbed Baeom and ran for the exit. Behind them, the facility came alive with security drones and automated defenses. Plasma bolts filled the corridors. The team returned fire, covering each other as they moved. Ji-young took a hit to her leg. She stumbled but kept moving. Keep going, I am fine. They burst out into the canyon as explosions rocked the facility behind them. The silence was right where they left it. They threw themselves aboard, Yoonji already firing up the engines before the hatch was fully closed. The stealth ship lifted off as the facility exploded in a ball of fire. Debris rained down around them, but Yoonji flew like she was born in the pilot seat. The silence twisted through the canyon, narrowly avoiding collapsing walls and falling rocks. They made it to orbit. Behind them, Kaleth 9 showed a new crater where the facility had been. But they had the data. They had the proof. And they had rescued one survivor. Ji-young worked on her injured leg while transmitting the data to the Resolute. Commander Park will want to see this immediately. On the Resolute, Commander Ji-woo Park reviewed the evidence with her senior staff. The recordings, the financial trails, the bodies of human test subjects. It was all there. Proof that elements within the coalition wanted humanity extinct. Dr. Heejin Lee looked devastated. They have been planning to kill us all along, even while negotiating with us. Lieutenant Minho Kang slammed his fist on the table. We should strike back now, show them we will not be victims. No, Ji-woo said firmly. If we attack, we play into their hands. They will say we are the aggressors, the threat they always claimed we were. She looked at the evidence again. We need allies. We need to expose this conspiracy to the galaxy. She sent a secret message to General Crossmar, including all the evidence. His response came quickly. He was enraged, not at humanity, but at the betrayal of everything the coalition supposedly stood for. This is cowardice disguised as strategy, he said. I will stand with you, Commander Park. My fleet will defend humanity. Next, Dr. Hyejin reached out to the Nairathi, the species humanity had saved at Proxima 7. They spread the word to other minor species. A secret meeting was arranged on the Resolute. Representatives from 12 different species came aboard. They looked at the evidence with horror. Tellus, the Nairathi leader, spoke for all of them. If they will do this to humans, they will do it to any of us. We must stand together. Thus was born the Compact of Free Species, an alliance of the weak and forgotten, united against those who would oppress them. And at the center of it all were the humans, the species that refused to die. But Admiral Vayrix learned of the raid on Caleth 9. He knew the evidence had been taken. He accelerated his plans, ordering assassinations of anyone who supported humanity. A Nirathi ambassador died in a shuttle accident. A coalition officer who questioned the Genesis Protocol disappeared. The Shadow War had begun. Commander Jiwoo knew they were running out of time. We need to force the issue. Expose this conspiracy publicly before Vayrix consolidates his power. Minho had a plan. The Coalition Council meets in 3 days at Unity Prime. If we could broadcast the evidence during that meeting, the entire galaxy would see the truth. How do we get into Unity Prime? Hyejin asked. Security will be impossible. Not impossible, Minho said with a grin. Difficult. But humans are good at difficult. The infiltration was daring and dangerous. Minho led a team disguised as maintenance workers, using forged credentials provided by General Crossmar. They planted broadcasting devices throughout the council chambers, but Vayrix had anticipated this. His security forces surrounded them in the maintenance tunnels beneath the council. A firefight erupted. Minho and his team were outnumbered and outgunned. Captain Yunji had been shadowing the operation. When she heard the alarm, she did not hesitate. The Silence docked directly with Unity Prime. Bypassing every security protocol, she and her Marines stormed the tunnels. Ji-young, still recovering from her leg injury, insisted on joining the rescue. You saved me at Caleth 9. Now I save you. Her courage inspired everyone. They fought their way through Coalition security. It was chaos, but as they reached the Silence and escaped, Minho activated the broadcasting devices remotely. The Coalition Council was in session when every screen in Unity Prime lit up with evidence. Images of the Genesis Protocol, recordings from test subjects, financial records linking Vayrix to the conspiracy. It all spilled out for the galaxy to see. Ambassador Thalvex watched in horror. General Crossmar stood and demanded justice. But Vayrix was not finished. He declared Jiwoo and her allies traitors. He called for an emergency military order to destroy the human fleet and everyone who supported them. The coalition split in two. Half supported reform and justice, half supported Vayrix and the old order. General Crossmar walked out of the chamber, taking his forces with him. He pledged his fleet to humanity's defense. Civil war had come to the coalition, and at the center of it all was the question that would decide the fate of the galaxy. Would the powerful continue to oppress the weak? Or would a new order rise, one where all species stood as equals? The answer would be written in fire and blood, and humanity would be right there, fighting for what they believed in, fighting for justice. The Veil Nebula glowed with strange colors as two fleets faced each other across the void. On one side, Admiral Vayrix commanded over 200 warships, hardliners who believed the coalition could only survive by crushing all dissent. On the other side, the human fleet stood alongside General Crossmar's forces and ships from 12 minor species. Less than 100 vessels total. Commander Jiwoo Park stood on the bridge of the Resolute and looked at the odds. 2-1 against them. But she had chosen this battlefield for a reason. The Veil Nebula was humanity's home for 2 centuries. They knew every current, every particle field, every hiding place. This was their territory. All ships report ready, Commander, Lieutenant Minho Kang said from Tactical. General Crossmar asks if you have any final instructions. Jiwoo activated the fleet-wide channel. Her voice carried to every ship, human and alien alike. Today we fight not for conquest, but for freedom. Not for revenge, but for justice. The galaxy will remember this day. Let us make sure they remember it well. All units execute Battle Plan Horizon. The battle began with a whisper. Human ships, using their superior stealth technology, vanished from sensors. They struck at Vayrix's supply lines and communication nodes. Confusion spread through the enemy fleet as captains lost contact with their commanders. Vayrix tried to maintain control, but the nebula worked against him. His sensors could not penetrate the charged particles. His communications were disrupted. His advantage in numbers meant nothing if he could not coordinate his forces. General Crossmar led the compact forces in a defensive formation. They did not try to win through firepower. They bought time. Every minute the battle dragged on, more of Vayrix's captains questioned their orders. Some began to defect, refusing to fire on their former comrades. Enemy fleet losing cohesion, Minho reported. 15 ships have broken formation. 10 more are not responding to commands. Good, Jiwoo said. Time for Phase 2. All human ships converge on Varix's flagship. The Resolute led the charge directly at the enemy command ship. It was a bold move, almost suicidal. Every weapon on Varix's flagship turned toward them. But Captain Eunji Choi and a squadron of human fighters provided cover, drawing fire and creating chaos. Dr. Hyejin Lee had prepared a surprise. A computer virus designed to infiltrate coalition systems. As the Resolute closed the distance, she transmitted it. Varix's shields flickered and died. His weapons went offline. Jiwoo opened a channel to the flagship. Admiral Varix, your ship is disabled. Your fleet is falling apart. Surrender now and we can end this without more bloodshed. Varix's face appeared on screen, twisted with rage. I will never surrender to you. You are nothing, insects. Then you give me no choice, Jiwoo said sadly. But before she could give the order to fire, General Crossmar's voice cut through the channel. Wait, Commander Park. Admiral Varix, I invoke the ancient right of challenge. You and I will settle this with personal combat. If I win, your forces stand down. If you win, the compact surrenders. Varix hesitated. It was a tradition among his people, one he could not refuse without losing all honor. But Crossmar was one of the greatest warriors in the coalition. Very well, but I choose my own champion. I choose to face the human commander herself. All eyes turned to Jiwoo. Minho stepped forward. Commander, you do not have to do this. Let someone else fight. No, Jiwoo said quietly. I led us here. I will finish this. She looked at her crew. If I fall, Minho takes command. Complete the mission no matter what. The duel took place on a neutral station, broadcast across the entire galaxy. Billions watched as Commander Jiwoo Park faced Admiral Varix in single combat. Varix was massive, easily twice Jiwoo's size. His body was augmented with cybernetic enhancements. His strength was legendary. He looked at Jiwoo like she was already dead. The fight began. Varix charged like a bull, trying to end it quickly with brute force. But Jiwoo was not there when he arrived. She moved like water, flowing around his attacks. She had spent her entire life training for moments like this. Humans were not the strongest species. Not the fastest. Not the toughest. But they were adaptable. They were persistent, and they never gave up. Jiwoo struck at weak points, joints, gaps in armor. She made him chase her, tire himself out. When he swung his massive fist, she was already gone. When he thought he had her cornered, she found a way out. The duel went on for what felt like hours. Varix grew frustrated, making mistakes. Jiwoo waited for her moment. When it came, she struck with all the precision of a surgeon. She disarmed him, literally, sending his weapon clattering across the floor. Then she swept his legs and put a blade to his throat. The galaxy held its breath. Jiwoo could kill him. She had every right. But she remembered what humanity stood for. She remembered why they were fighting. She offered her hand to help him up. I offer mercy, Admiral, because killing you would make me no better than those who tried to kill us. Stand down, end this. Let us build something better. Varix looked at her hand for a long moment. Then slowly he took it. He stood defeated but alive. His voice was quiet. I yield. My forces will stand down. The galaxy erupted in reaction. Some cheered. Some condemned. But everyone had seen the truth. Humanity had proven themselves. Not through cruelty, but through courage. Not through revenge, but through mercy. The Coalition Council reconvened days later. Ambassador Thalvex, humbled by everything that had happened, proposed sweeping reforms. The Genesis Protocol was destroyed. Admiral Varix was tried and convicted. And humanity was granted full recognition as a sovereign member of the Coalition. General Crossmar became a champion of reform, ensuring the minor species had a voice. The Compact of Free Species became a formal part of the Coalition, protecting those who had once been voiceless. Jiwoo was offered a seat on the Coalition Council. She declined. My place is with my people. We have much work to do. 5 years passed. Humanity established 6 new colonies. Human ships patrolled alongside Coalition forces, protecting trade and defending the innocent. The species that had once hidden in fear now stood as equals among the stars. Lieutenant Minho Kang became Captain Kang, commanding a joint task force of humans and aliens. Dr. Hyejin Lee led cultural exchange programs, building bridges between species. Captain Yoonji Choi trained new pilots from dozens of worlds. Specialist Ji Young Han served as her second-in-command, fully recovered and stronger than ever. Commander Ji-woo Park stood on the bridge of the Resolute, now a symbol of hope rather than war. She looked out at the stars and thought about the journey. 200 years of hiding, 200 years of survival, and now a new beginning. A young ensign approached. Commander, distress call from the Outer Rim. Unknown hostiles attacking a civilian convoy. They request assistance. Ji-woo smiled. It was the smile of someone who had found their purpose. Sound the alarm. Plot a course. We have a galaxy to protect. The Resolute turned toward the distress call, its engines blazing with light. Around it, other human ships fell into formation, and alongside them flew vessels from the Compact, from General Crossmar's fleet, from species that had learned to trust each other. Humanity had been just faded legends to them, ancient warriors from forgotten stories. But legends had a way of coming back when they were needed most. And when they returned, they did not come as conquerors or destroyers, they came as protectors, as friends, as proof that even in the darkest times, hope could survive, that even when the galaxy forgot you, you could remind them who you were, not through cruelty but through courage, not through revenge but through justice, not through domination, but through the simple act of standing up for what was right no matter the cost. That was what made humans special. Not their technology, not their tactics, but their refusal to give up, their determination to protect the weak, their belief that every life mattered. The battlefield was not just a place of war anymore. It was a place where a better future was born, where legends became real, where humanity claimed not through conquest, but through the strength of their character, and the galaxy would never forget them again.